You want me to yell, you want me to scream, you want me to say, "What's up, fish tank people?" Do you know how sick of saying that I am? You know what I want to do? I want to create my own little slice of nature. Like Takashi Amano said, creating nature is the ultimate luxury. And this is my attempt at a WABI KUSA. Like most good things in life, this is actually spawned from failure. When I first went out to Seattle, I met with my now friend Fiona too and made a WABI KUSA. However, I killed that WABI KUSA. Growing plants underwater is my specialty. However, growing them up out of the water is not something that I typically do. Herein lies the challenge. My hope is that I can learn how to create these things and leave them all throughout Greenhouse 2.0 as small little works of art. I also have high light and high humidity levels in the greenhouse, so my thinking is that these will be able to survive on their own with relatively no maintenance at all. I want to quickly touch on some of my sources of inspiration for this. I mentioned previously Fiona too, obviously is a huge inspiration. There's Takashi Amano, and there's also my man Kevin Kelly, who did this amazing work with our friend Rachel O'Leary. There's also our good friend Mother Nature. And yes, like I do every year, I spent my birthday hiking around in the Red River Gorge here in Kentucky. When in doubt, look for inspiration in nature. Now on to the process. When I first did a WABI KUSA with Fiona too, out of her shop Aquarium, one of the things that I loved, besides her shop being meticulously clean, small, and precise, was the fact that before we started, she made us stop, close our eyes, and count to 30. This is YouTube and there's no way you're going to sit through a 30-second pause, but trust me, I did it before I started this. You'll notice this is being started on a clean area, a white surface with a white plate I took from my wife's kitchen. The old saying, messy room, messy mind. The opposite of that, clean room, clean mind. We have a clean canvas and we are ready to start. The first thing we need for this is a sweet rock, some green thread, some scissors. I'm going to do something different. I'm going to attempt to use dirt in this. I'm also going to use some Java moss and of course my hand selected plants from Greenhouse 2.0. The first thing we want to do is grab our dirt. I'm using organic dirt here, but I don't think it much matters because this will be above the water, so we don't have to worry about ruining the water column if this stays above it. You'll see all the white specks in here. This is actually aragonite that I mix in to increase calcium levels. I find this highly beneficial in both in the tank and out of the tank. My hope was that the dirt would stick together in a nice ball easily. That simply wasn't the case. So instead of using the Taiwan moss that I originally selected, I decided to go with a more dense moss, this Riccardia moss that we have, as it's slightly thicker. I figured I could use this to bind the dirt ball better and then later on add the Taiwan moss on top of it. I found it best to lay the clumps of Riccardia in the palm of my hand and just kind of mash the ball together with the Riccardia all around it. And all of you moss fish tank people out there, I would love to get your opinion on what kind of moss you would use in a WABI KUSA setup like this. Please leave me a note in the comments. Then I took the green cotton thread and began wrapping it around. You don't want to wrap it too tightly as it'll just pull through the dirt. What I did was wrap it around about every quarter of an inch, moving it around. So it was a pretty dense amount of thread used in the bottom layer, retaining the Riccardia all around the dirt to make the initial ball, the main structure of this. I consider this more the infrastructure stage than the art stage. But you have to have the infrastructure right in order for it to work moving forward. Next, it's time for the Taiwan moss. I love the look of this stuff, but I could tell it wasn't going to work as a base layer. It's got a bright green color to it and longer, flowier leaves, if you will. Now, unlike the Riccardia underneath it, the Taiwan moss does not need nearly as dense of thread around it. I used probably a piece of thread every ½ inch or so just to barely hold the Taiwan moss over, also reinforcing the main structure with this extra, slightly thinner layer. Now we clear the plate again, we bring out the rock. Now we have our new rock with a moss ball that was made to fit directly into this size location.
I also debated making smaller moss balls to shove in the other crevices of this rock.
But now it's time for the fun part. It's time for the plants. There's not a lot of species involved in this. I remember doing my initial WABI KUSA and I took it to Fiona-san and it didn't look right. And she said, "How many plants do you have?" She said the rule is that you're only supposed to use around 3 species. While I have a cornucopia of plants available, I tried to rein it in and only use a few. Here are the plants. The first thing I did was to grab some Hygrophila pinnatophyta, one of the most fun plants that we have right now. This variety has been entirely grown underwater and will need to convert. Luckily, it is a super hardy Hygrophila in my opinion.
I simply poke a small hole into the side of the moss ball, making sure that the string and the ball is still intact, and simply insert the plants. I like to insert the plants further down into the dirt so I know they are going to get fed. That way they can grow out instead of leaving them out where they might look better but not have a chance to get down to the dirt as quickly.
Next, we grabbed some Bucephalandra. Here I have some mini Catherine. Please note that it has the little bit of red on it that is from underwater growth underneath a 400-watt metal halide lamp. I also have some other Bucephalandra, including the pink lady, named after the lady involved in Fail.0. More on her another day. Next came the mini Bucephalandra. My vision for this is that the small leaf Bucephalandra would look cool as a sort of foreground carpeting thing, if you will, on the front side of this WABI KUSA. I spread the Bucephalandra out and did stick the rhizome down into the dirt. However, Bucephalandra can grow just fine attached to a rock without any sort of substrate. And last but certainly not least is the dark velvet Bucephalandra that I'm putting off to the right side here. And while I did initially grab some of the pink lady Bucephalandra, I decided that the lady did not need to be involved in this little WABI KUSA. I also didn't like the leaf shape of it. I chose the dark velvet Bucephalandra because I like the longer, narrower leaves. Conversely, with the pink lady's wider leaves, I just feel like the narrower leaves look a little better. Oh, by the way, yes, that is flowering Bucephalandra. I had a strong urge to want to add more plants to this, but I decided to stick with the rule of just using 3 species on it. Now it's time to put it into this glass jar. Note, this was purchased at Michael's and I think it was only about $10 a while back. I'm using the jar to retain humidity levels. You can see here I'm adding water to the top of all of these, as after all they were originally growing underwater and now I have to convert them. I put saran wrap over top of this with water inside that should keep humidity levels fairly high. Mission accomplished. Now I'm simply taking this WABI KUSA and setting it into an early morning sunshine spot in the greenhouse. Do me a favor, if you like this kind of video, please consider hitting that subscribe button or that notification button and you will get updated when we produce new videos. Also, perhaps there's something that we missed in this video, or maybe there's something that you would like to add. Please feel free to leave us a comment below. Everybody make it an awesome week and tank on.